Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NCAAF matches that is happening on Saturday, September 16, 2023. We will be providing our team, total and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. Georgia Southern vs Wisconsin. Take Wisconsin Badgers minus 19 points. And here is why. The Wisconsin Badgers, despite their recent setback against WSU, have shown signs of promise early in the season. Quarterback Tanner Mordecai has been instrumental in their offensive plays, throwing for a total of 466 yards, with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The connection with receiver Will Pauling has been fruitful, with Pauling recording 133 receiving yards so far. The rushing game, led by Shea Malusi, has been a force to reckon with, accumulating 207 yards and 3 touchdowns, showcasing a potent ground attack that can be a significant threat to the Eagles. The Badgers have a slightly lower average total offense compared to the Eagles, standing at 435.5 yards per game, but their rushing game has been stronger with 202.5 yards. The defense has been relatively solid, allowing 324.5 yards per game, a statistic that places them in a good stead against the Eagles' offense. In the world of college football, momentum is everything, and the Wisconsin Badgers are looking to build strong momentum coming into this game with a 1-1 record. Looking at the statistics, the Badgers have a remarkable average of 435.5 yards per game of total offense, with SMU transfer Tanner Mordecai steering the offensive unit with a total of 466 passing yards and 2 touchdowns to his name. The synergy between Mordecai and his favorite receiver, Will Pauling, who has already bagged 133 receiving yards, is expected to be a significant threat to the Eagles' defense, which has allowed an average of 344.5 yards per game in their previous encounters. On the ground, Shea Malusi has been a force to reckon with, rushing for 207 yards and securing 3 touchdowns, showcasing a level of agility and skill that has been a nightmare for defenses. The Badgers have a robust defensive lineup that has only allowed an average of 324.5 yards per game, showcasing their ability to stifle attacks and dominate the possession game. On the flip side, while the Eagles have shown glimpses of brilliance, especially in their passing game with Davis Brin throwing for 562 yards and securing 4 touchdowns, their defense remains a point of concern. The team will need to significantly up their game to contain the Badgers' multifaceted attack. Given the current form and statistical backing, the Badgers hold a significant edge in this encounter. Betting on them to cover a minus 19 spread is a confident pick, grounded on their current performance and the depth in their squad that has been firing on all cylinders. Take over 64.5 points. As we gear up for this encounter, the offensive units of both teams promise a game riddled with touchdowns and exhilarating plays. The over-under set at 64.5 provides a lucrative opportunity for bettors to capitalize on what promises to be a high-scoring affair. The Badgers have been a scoring machine, with their offensive unit showcasing a high level of coordination and skill, translating to a high average point score per game. Their receiver, Will Pauling, has been in splendid form, and coupled with Shea Malusi's rushing prowess, we can expect the Badgers to rack up a high score. On the other hand, the Eagles have not been left behind in the scoring department, with notable performances from their quarterback and running back, showcasing their ability to find the end zone. However, their defense has shown vulnerabilities, allowing a significant number of yards in their previous games, a trend that if not rectified, might see them conceding a high score. Given the offensive firepower of the Badgers and the Eagles' ability to score coupled with their defensive vulnerabilities, betting on an over 64.5 is a confident pick. Both teams have the arsenal to turn this encounter into a high-scoring thriller, promising a game where the scoreboard will be ticking constantly, providing a spectacle rich in touchdowns. Florida State vs Boston College. Our team pick is Florida State Seminoles minus 26.5 points. The Seminoles enter this game having won their first 2 games of the season, including their season-opening win against LSU, who was ranked number 5 at the time. In their most recent 66-13 win at home against Southern Miss, the Noles looked dominant, benching a majority of their starters in the second half. Heisman candidate Jordan Travis threw for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, with a 15.29 completion rate, as the receivers continued to struggle with drops. Keon Coleman led the wideouts once again, totaling 48 yards and a touchdown off of just 3 receptions. The run game showed their value this game, as the Noles totaled 306 yards on the ground, with Trey Benson going for 9 carries, 79 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The defense for the Noles continued to show their physicality up front, pressuring the quarterback and forcing turnovers. If Florida State continues to play like this, they will be serious contenders for the national championship. I believe the Seminoles will cover the spread in this game for several compelling reasons. Firstly, Florida State ranks among the top-tier teams in the nation and has demonstrated its dominance in the initial 2 games of the season. Their remarkable victory over number 5 LSU in the season opener is a testament to their strength. Additionally, the presence of Heisman candidate Jordan Travis as their quarterback bolsters their offensive prowess, making them one of the most formidable offenses in the country. Notably, they managed to put up an impressive 45 points against LSU and a staggering 66 points against Southern Miss. On the flip side, Boston College has made it evident that their defense is not their strongest suit. This Florida State offense is poised to exploit this weakness, likely leading to another commanding performance. Furthermore, Florida State's defense is poised to capitalize on Boston College's vulnerabilities along the offensive line, potentially wreaking havoc in the trenches. Anticipate the Eagles struggling to establish a running game, resulting in frequent third and long situations due to stalled rushes and sacks. Operating from such unfavorable positions will hinder their offensive productivity and provide Florida State with an opportunity to build a substantial scoring advantage. It's worth noting that the Seminoles have an impressive track record of 2-0 against the spread this season, demonstrating their ability to cover significant spreads. Notably, they were favored by 31 points against Southern Miss and still managed to cover the spread. Consequently, it is reasonable to expect the Seminoles to continue their dominant performance and make a compelling case for a playoff berth. Our total pick is over 47.5 points. Taking the over in this game for a couple of reasons. Florida State very well could cover this total themselves, having scored 45 or more in their first 2 games of this season. What we have here is one of the best defenses in the country colliding with one of the worst defenses they will face this season. This total actually opened up at 56.5 and has since moved to 47.5 in fear of inclement weather, but it will not have that much of an impact on the game. If it does, the game will be rescheduled, but if it doesn't, I see this as extremely good value on the over. Boston College should be good for a touchdown or 2, as Florida State killed Southern Miss, but still allowed 13 points as they worked their backups. Even if the Eagles don't score at all, I still like the over for this game. In terms of trends, both Florida State and Boston College have gone over in their first 2 games, making me all the more confident in taking the over for this game. Kansas State vs Missouri. Take Kansas State minus 3.5 point. Kansas State brought in 6 players from the transfer portal, including Jacob Nuth, Tyler Nellam, and Jeevan Banks. They lost several others, including Jalen Clem, Crew Jackson, and Kamari Gaines. Chris Kleeman is back as the Kansas State head coach, a position he has held since 2019. He is 32-20 as the head coach of the team and looking to improve that record with one of the most talented squads he has had ever. Kansas State is in the upper echelon of offenses so far this season, racking up an average of 492.5 yards per game, ranking 17th in the nation. They have thrown an average of 305.0 yards per game, 24th, and rushed for 187.5 yards per game. Their 43.5 points per game on average ranks just inside the top 20. Will Howard is the starting quarterback for the Wildcats, and he has completed 67.2% of his passes for 547 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He has also rushed for 3 touchdowns, a team high. DJ Giddens and Treshaun Ward have split the majority of the carries, but Giddens has the higher number of yards gained with 180. Phillip Brooks leads the receiving corps in receptions with 13, but RJ Garcia too has 150 total yards on the year, good for the highest on the squad. Jaden Jackson has the most touchdown receptions with 2. Although it's tempting to favor Missouri as the underdog at home, I'm leaning towards the more talented team, Kansas State. Missouri's limited depth in the wide receiver position doesn't instill confidence, especially if they need to rely on the passing game. Moreover, the Tigers' offensive line has already surrendered 5 sacks in just 2 games, while the Wildcats have managed to record 8 sacks in their own 2 matchups. In a showdown of the trenches, Kansas State's defensive line could prove to be the deciding factor. This game represents the toughest competition either team has faced this year, and I believe Kansas State is well equipped to maintain their ranking and make a compelling case for a spot among the top 10 teams with a victory. Take the under 47.5 points. Missouri has also been solid on the defensive end this season. They currently rank just outside the top 15 in yards against, with an average of 239.5 per game. They have given up 181 yards per game through the air on average and 58.5 rushing yards per game, 9th in the country. Their 14.5 average points per game surrendered is middle of the pack, but shows that there is something to be said about this squad. Darius Robinson is the only player to reach double digits in tackles so far with 10, but Joseph Charleston has a team-high 7 total tackles on the year. Niles Gaddy has 2 of the team's total 6 sacks so far, and Chris Abrams-Draine leads the squad with 2 passes defended. Nobody on the team has made an interception yet, but that will not stay constant throughout the season. The Tigers have 5 players on the injured list currently. Isaac Thompson is the only player out long-term, and he is out for the season with a lower body injury. Neither team has given up much on the ground, despite their weaker opponents. However, this leads me to believe that both teams will do their best to put an emphasis on a successful rushing attack. This will help complement the play-action pass and open the game up towards the later stages of the contest. Their emphasis on the run may not be successful during the first few drives or even the first half. Therefore, based on the defensive lines each team boasts, I have confidence that the score will be lower than anticipated. Points will come at a premium in this game, and Missouri was able to score only 23 points against Middle Tennessee in their last game.